Hello, this is your friend, Hayley Crusher Kane, and this is another edition of Crusher Talk with Hayley. You can probably hear my car, and the reason you're hearing such a lovely buzzing and rumbling from my car is that it has no catalytic converter. In fact, it was stolen from the car before I even purchased it, which is very Detroit. I am driving my little Chihuahuas to Barkside on the east side of Detroit, a really fun dog park slash coffee shop slash bar slash hangout where really the main thing is enjoying the sunshine and hanging out and watching dogs play. It's kind of a good excuse to just get out in the sunshine. And I'm allowing my other half, Dr. Kane, to work on our kitchen floor, which has been begging for love for probably decades now. There are several floors exposed at the moment, dating back to the 1920s, and linoleum on top of wood, on top of more crusty linoleum. When we moved in, there was famously carpet stapled to the floor. So there was a kitchen with a carpeted floor, yes. Today, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that our new single that is supposedly coming out next month is having some issues. Going back to the drawing board, going back into the studio even to recut some new drums for this track. It's funny because sometimes you think with a song, okay, there's something going on with it sonically that is not in harmony with, like, it's in disharmony. There's something that sticks out. And for me, one of the things that sticks out that's really a telltale sign that something is amiss is when the energy is lacking or the song feels flat. And of course, this can be a mixing issue, but in this case, it really isn't that. It was more an issue of what guitar tracks were on the song, because we were missing some guitar tracks that were going to add some energy and levity. We added those. And after adding those, it did not really solve the problem, which happens sometimes. This happens where you think you know what the answer to the question is to make the song better, and that's not the answer. So we're going back to the drawing board and recutting the drums, which is something I've never had to do at this point, being at this point of like first, second mix notes and saying, you know what, let's just recut the drums entirely. Very, very rarely. And the reason that's very rare is that it's very a pain in the ass to have to do. And this brings me to really what this episode is about, which is the radical acceptance of what is and trusting your instinct of what is and allowing what is to be, and coming from a place of acceptance, radical acceptance. I was pretty annoyed at first, thinking, oh my God, we have to have this out. It was due yesterday, basically. One of those situations where it was due to go into digital distribution over the past weekend. We were going to go on Sunday, on Father's Day, and do a shoot for the single art, and we'd already cut most of a music video for this song. So of course I don't want to think something's terribly wrong here, right? I want to think, well, it can be fixed. But I know from experience and from burying my head in the sand with previous songs that I will not tell you about because I don't want to ruin these songs for you from the past. But there is one song in particular from Modern Adult Kicks that I continually go back to in my mind, and I regret not going back and changing some things that were an issue, some things that led to actually an energetics problem, because you want a song to come out the gate with the right energy and you want it to build. And so, had to come to terms with the fact that this song is not ready. Next single is going to get pushed back, and we're actually doing a bit of a loop-de-loop switcheroo, and we're going to be putting out a different single instead. This single that'll be coming out next month, I believe, is going to be a cover. So that's always fun. I love that our covers show our references and are always sort of a love letter to like the 80s, and like, you know, we have a Kim Wilde cover, we have a great Ramones cover, we have Go-Go's cover, and X, you know, one of my favorite bands of all time, you know, an X cover. And I think it's really fun because you're able to connect with people immediately. Some people think it's a cheap trick, like, oh, well, you know, you're just playing a cover. But I think it takes guts to play a cover. You really do have to show your influences on your sleeve, which can be not embarrassing for some artists, but I think some artists like to keep that a little more tight to the chest, as if they, like I always say, like, you know, artists often want to say they came out fully formed when they're really informed on a lot of art that came before them. And some artists are more or less interested and forthcoming in showing their work and showing the things that inspired them for whatever reason. That reason probably being ego or insecurity, I guess. But I've always been a fan. I think being a fan and being enthusiastic about other artists is 1,000% like the magic secret to this industry and to doing well. I feel like the more I'm a fan and the more that I am enthusiastic and inspired by other artists, the better opportunities happen for this band, because I don't know, something about giving allows you to receive, right? So if you're not giving, if you're not out there really, I don't know, just fully being in gratitude for all of the artists that came before you and loving on them and thinking about them, thinking about the Debbie Harry or the Joan Jett. It's important, you know, it's important to have a pantheon to look up to. But I'm digressing. You know, there is the quote that if you argue with reality, you're going to lose, but only 100% of the time. And I love this quote. And this quote is not about saying, so you should give up. It's about saying, arguing with reality is a problem. And if you are going to affect change, you're going to change something in a song, or you're going to change something in the world, you have to come from a place of acceptance and a place of, this is where we're at with it. And it may take, you know, days, months, years to get there, sometimes hours, depending on how small the thing is. As I've been trying to tell myself lately, there is no art emergency. There's no emergencies in art. If something gets pushed back, if the album gets pushed back, that's all right. 2020 taught us that, you know, everything is salvageable, really. Everything is salvageable. So the vinyl plant gets, you know, completely swamped. Okay, you know, the distribution chain gets fucked. Live music just stops happening altogether. I mean, the worst things that could ever happen in music have already happened and continue to happen for artists, DIY artists in this day and age, that there is no art emergency. We're working on good shit. It's coming out. It will come out, and that's what I have to remind myself, and come back to that place of acceptance of what is. So there may not be a video for this next song coming out next month, but I'm okay with that if you're okay with that. We have been burning the candle at both ends creatively, and although it's been, as always, like a really invigorating and beautiful experience, and I love this part of it. This is the part that I get excited for. You know, I get excited for all these behind the scenes parts, even more than the performing lately. And we're just so grateful that we're doing this. We get to do this, and that we have these opportunities to do this. Speaking of, we will be in Newport, Kentucky this Saturday. We are going to be playing Say It Louder Festival, which is an LGBTQIA plus supported event, Pride kind of adjacent event, and proceeds for that festival will be going to a good cause. I think, what is it called? Treehouse Cincy, which is a nonprofit that is LGBTQ allied efforts in that community. So that'll be cool. And then we are going to be playing 2 more shows in August. One at Savage Mountain Punk Festival in Cumberland, Maryland, followed by a show at Jilly's Music Room in Akron, Ohio, which is kind of random. The keyboardist from the Queers, actually, Ron recommended this venue because we were coming back from Maryland and we just didn't have any gigs, and we really dropped the ball on getting those gigs lined up, to be honest, because we have been so focused on the record and we have had so much going on with shows and such. So that's what we're doing. That's our summer. We're not playing a shit ton of gigs. We're not, going overboard, and I'm okay with it. Speaking of shows, recently went out to the Sanctuary's sister venue, or I don't know if sister venue, brother venue, cousin venue. This is owned by the same people that own the Sanctuary in Hamtramck, where we reside. And this new venue is in a old church in the basement. There's multiple stages, actually. I think there's 2 different areas you can watch music there to catch. And the venue is called, I believe it's called The Crypt. And we went to go see a band that I have been waiting to see since I so pathetically and sadly and just tragically got COVID during my birthday weekend. I believe it was 2021 or 2022. And I was so excited to go see Dark Thoughts. I've been wanting to see them forever. They are from Philadelphia, and they are just a very Ramones-y typed DNA band with a political punk heart, I would say. Although their songs are not political, they're a very political band. The members are, and the songs range from love songs and feeling alienated and such to I guess I don't really know what all their songs are about. I was noticing as they were playing, I was like, I just fucking love their music, and I just make it mean what I want it to mean. They play so incredibly fast that it's kind of hard to sing along, to be honest. Their drummer is probably, one of the fastest drummers I've ever seen. I've played with some really fast drummers, but this guy is just on a different planet entirely, hitting all those 8th notes, 16th notes, and just cooking back there with this maniacal look on his face, like he's some sort of crazy ass drum robot. Caught them, which was really, I don't know, when you see a band you haven't seen for a long time and you get to redeem yourself after one of those COVID letdowns. I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are like, I was going to go to this thing. I was going to go on a cruise, but it was COVID. I was going to put my record out, but it was COVID. Or for us, we were going to go on this European tour, but it was COVID. So once you get to do the thing that got canceled due to COVID, you get to have this big redemption moment. And I think this is such a special thing for everybody. There is the COVID birthday redemption story. I know a lot of people had COVID. I did that horrible time that I had COVID on my birthday. It was the second wave of COVID, I believe. I was supposed to take the train out to Milwaukee to meet one of my oldest and dearest friends who was coming out from Los Angeles. We were going to meet in Milwaukee. We were going to go to see Trixie Mattel's bar. We were going to also go to a drag brunch and go antiquing and stuff, and it was going to be so fun. But instead, I was stuck in a crappy basement of a house that I did not want to be in the worst situation ever. Did not have, we were still working on finding a house. Reed was still working on finding a job. It was just one of the worst times in my life. And I was so bummed that I also, couldn't go see this show and see this band I really wanted to see. So I had my redemption. But I do want to say an opening band for the night that I was super, super impressed with is Love Fool. Not the Cardigans song, because that's what you want to go to, right? Love me, say that you love me. But it's not that. Love Fool is a band that combines so many different vibes in one band. I feel like there's this 90s-ish shimmery guitar tone and keyboards. There's this sort of hardcore, raspy, aggressive vocal. Really, really dynamic drums. Was very interested in the drummer, which I love when a band has a really fun, dynamic drummer. And the rest of the guys were okay too. But let's be honest. Some people stole the show more than others in the band. But all this to say, also their mic stand kept breaking. The lead singer's mic stand just kept breaking, and Dr. Kane kept trying to put it back together, and it was kind of comical. It made me think that it would be such a fun shtick to come on stage and just like have pre-broken things and then, you know, get to break them on stage. It kind of feels like a WWE thing, or I don't know. It was very absurd. But they were just a really great band. They had great melodies. All the little guitar solos were very like compact and melodic and tasteful, and there were, you know what I like about a band is when they have multiple melodies going on, and there were definitely multiple melodies going on in this band. They're from Detroit. They've only been around for about 2 years. They're from Hazel Park, and they do have an EP out as well as a single that just came out last year. I highly recommend this EP, Stumbling In, and the most recent single is great as well. So I'll link to those. Other than that, there's not much else to report. We're really just, you know, people ask us like, you know, what's your next local show? And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, we're literally playing this festival coming up this weekend. We got those 2 shows in August. And then I should mention also, I'm sorry, I forgot, end of August, we're playing Fuzz Festival in Ann Arbor. So that'll be a blast. And I'm remiss to forget them. I'm sorry. I love you, Fuzz Festival. We're really excited to play Fuzz Festival. We have a great slot at Fuzz Festival. We're not too late, not too early. I want to say we're playing somewhere kind of more in the middle, which I love. It'll be our first time playing in Ann Arbor, home of Iggy Pop. So we'll see you at some of these shows, and I'll keep you updated on the single. Until then, sparkle hard, get used to what is, and then maybe you can change it. Maybe. Okay, talk to you later. Bye!